Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. This is the Deep Dive. My name's Drew Creekmer. I'm the Director of Advisory Services at Creekmer Wealth. And I'm joined as always by John Creekmer, our founder and Senior Wealth Advisor. And John, we're going to be talking about long-term care today. We've been working with a number of folks recently just to walk through this particular situation as it relates to their finances and their life. So we wanted to provide some high-level thoughts on this particular topic. But John, before we hop into that, how you doing? What's been going on?
I'll tell you what, we've been doing great, Drew. We spent some time out in Denver, actually, with a wonderful client event out in Avon, and some long-standing clients of the firm out there. It's interesting. We've with us and then with Grace and Nicole. Grace and Nicole have been working up in the mountains for 25 years, I think, and some clients have been working with them for that entire period of time. It's so great to connect with everybody there, and I think of another event coming up there later on this fall, September, October, I think, at Edwards. And so, but it's great doing that. Then from there, Stacy and I, we actually scheduled a number of days away. Went down to southern Utah, outside of Zion and Bryce, and man, beautiful country, and loved it. And did some AT or UTVN also. Had a lot of fun doing that. So that was fun. Kind of made it back home, and I know so many of our clients are aware that on the personal side, I've been going through a journey with Stacy's father, and 80 years old, and Alzheimer's diagnosis a year and a half ago. And last part of the journey, he passed away. And in the midst of all that, care for him, he got to be too much to take care of at home with Mary and Stacy and I and Colleen and Andy and Stan. So we needed to go as far as some assistance as far as in a memory care unit. And the cost of that is just staggering. And, I was blessed as far as having done a number of things well financially to be able to afford that. But Drew, I know that so many families, work so long, we save money for retirement, and then all of a sudden a medical event happens, and we have a need either short term for rehab or longer term as far as with a stay long-term care facility, and it just destroys wealth. It destroys wealth in bad ways. So that's been a big thing as far as the states on our personal journey, both with my parents and her parents, and some of our clients have worked hard and now also approached 50 years of age, and it's like that's a risk they're going through themselves and with their extended family. And so I know that's something that we really want to help all of our clients make wise decisions on.
Yeah, absolutely. And, John, just to provide some high level information, I was recently talking with a partner firm of ours who does research in this particular area around long term care and nursing home care, and just looking at the average cost. And, the average cost for care in this area is increasing by 5 to 7% a year. But that's on top of it already being incredibly expensive, right? A private room in a nursing home, average cost around the country, it's going to be at least in the mid $90,000 over the course of 1 year. And we've seen that cost actually be substantially higher, right, John? And this is an area where we know 7 out of 10 adults who are over the age of 65 are going to need some level of care, whether that's at a rehab facility or maybe at an extended care facility. So we really wanted to walk through just what are your options as it relates to planning to pay for this particular expense. And so, John, why don't you walk us through what you've seen in your experience? What are really the 2 or 3 primary ways that folks go
Yeah.
about planning for this?
There's three primary ways that we see, and for a lot of our clients, the third really is the one we think makes the most sense right now. We've got some strong partnerships and really helped as far as on trying to develop some thought and be thought leaders in this whole space. And it's been a blessing. So a number of things we've been able to work through. But the first way really is traditional long-term care insurance, which you pay a premium dollar every single year. And you receive, if you go to a long-term care facility or a home health care facility, home health care situation, pays off to you a certain benefit amount. And now one of the negatives is those premiums can increase at the minimum every 3 years. And so we've seen some people where the premiums have doubled over the lifetime of the contract, 10, 15 years. And also, if you don't use the policy, then those dollars, those premium dollars, are really never, ever returned to you. So it's kind of like a term insurance policy for long-term care. And a lot of folks have stayed away from those, and for good reason. The second way that we see a lot of folks navigate long-term care is some type of a life insurance policy, of which you're able to accelerate the death benefit for long-term care or home health care solutions on a reimbursement situation, and up to 90% of the death benefit. So let's say you have a $500,000 death benefit on this policy, and you pass away, all $500,000 go to your heirs, but you can access $450,000 of that before you pass away to pay for your long-term care costs or home health care costs. That's a phenomenal solution. The one negative is that you have to be able to be underwritten or get approval for your life insurance. And so some folks don't qualify for that. And so that's the second way, and that's been a great solution for a lot of people is a hybrid universal life insurance policy, and to be able to accelerate very cheap cost of life insurance and accelerate the death benefit. The third way is when you self-insure. So with self-insurance, what you're saying is I'm setting aside a certain dollar amount. And so let's say you have $1 million and you're or 2 million, let's say you have $2 million and you say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and set aside $300,000 to cover the cost of my long-term care in the event that I need it. You go into some level of a CD or a cash account, and so where that money is protected, it's not tied to the stock market for risk, and then those dollars are available to you. And you pass away, the money then goes to your heirs. If you never use it, you could access it for other reasons. And so that really is a good solution. And but one of the negatives is the dollars are not leveraged. And so in other words, if a premium for traditional long-term care, maybe you spend $5,000 for that, you get $300,000 of benefit every single year. And so, whereas on the self-pay for a lot of folks, they set aside money into a CD, they put $300,000 into a CD, and they have $300,000 of benefit plus whatever little of interest they earn. And so that's the negative side. So positives on three different ways to go around it: the term policy, which is a traditional long-term care, universal life, which you get your money back, or self-funded. And Drew, recently we have been so excited to be able to start really partnering and offering a separate self-pay function for a lot of our clients, and it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it really does. And, John, we really love this product because it seeks to address a number of the negatives that you laid out there. One great example is underwriting. Underwriting on life insurance is really tricky to get through, especially as we age. Whereas this product, which is really more of a fixed annuity style product, 94% of applicants actually get approved. And so it's a really great solution to be able to ensure you have some level of coverage. But John, we've talked about this a lot. Now, whenever we're
Mm.
looking at solutions for our clients, we always want flexibility. We never want to be fully locked into just one path to make sure that as life changes around us, we're able to adjust our finances as well. So I really love this product because it pays a fixed interest rate of either 5 to 6% a year, which is really a phenomenal return on an asset with no risk. You're still able to access your cash value if something were to come up, like buying a car or paying for a water heater. But at the end of the day, you receive either 2 or 3 times your initial premium to help pay for long-term care. And John, that really speaks to leveraging your dollars to get more bang for your buck. So we really think this is a great solution and one that we'd encourage you if you're thinking about, hey, what does my plan look like around long-term care, home health care? I'm really concerned about possibly being able to afford that. And I don't want to eat up all of the assets I've saved that would either pass to my spouse or my children. I really think this is a solution that you should talk to your advisor about. And John, when you're thinking about long-term care and planning for it, what are one, two, maybe three important key elements for people to think through? What's the best solution or tool to utilize for their situation?
A lot of it really has to do with your total amount of net assets that you have, plus the income that you have coming in as far as on a monthly basis. And so, depending upon how you answer those questions, what your situation is, that's going to steer you down a path of what is the best solution. And so, let's say you have a strong pension and strong Social Security, and you're bringing in $4,000, $5,000 a month coming in between yourself and your spouse. And we know that the cost of long-term care for one person may be $7,500 a month. Well, looking at that, that's going to give us let's say you have $1 million set aside. Well, then that's going to give you some direction. So the lower your net asset value, then the more appropriate traditional long-term care plays into it. Now, if you have $500,000 or more as far as an asset level, well, then using the hybrid solution that Drew just brought up, as far as on the fixed account, of which you can get 2 to 3 times the dollar amount you put in, is a wonderful solution. So if you put $100,000 into this account, you would actually have about $300,000 set aside as far as your long-term care need. You still have access to those funds. If you're sitting with more than $1.5 million as far as in assets, we have found that the hybrid life insurance solution is really the best financial solution to use. And so it really depends upon asset level, because it really plays into as far as on the amount that you're able to leverage to be able to have the funds available. So if you have less than 500,000, it's really the traditional policy. If you have 500,000 up to about 1.5 million, it is really the solution that Drew just walked us through as far as on the setting aside the self-funding, which is leveraged 2 to 3 times. If you have over $1.5 million of net worth, well, then really kind of look at the hybrid life insurance policy. In most cases, it's the one that makes sense. Now, I say in most cases, Drew, because both those solutions,
Right.
actually all three solutions, require us to go through a certain level of medical underwriting. And so look at your health history. And so let's say you have a heart condition. Well, in that case, you would not be able to qualify for the life insurance solution, but you would be able to qualify for the long-term care underwriting. And so, but let's say you have arthritis, really bad rheumatoid arthritis. In that case, you would not be able to qualify for the traditional long-term care underwriting, but you would qualify for the life insurance underwriting. And so if you think about the risk, say, what is the risk? Is the risk going to kill me? Or really, if I don't live for a long time, I just need to have a little more help as far as getting by today. So number
Right.
one is asset level, and number two goes down to your health history.
Yeah. And, John, I think really you laid that out beautifully. And guys, what I would encourage you to do, if you're really thinking about this area, talk to your advisor. We've done some extensive training with our advisory team and walking through all the pros and cons of these solutions. And they'll help you walk through this conversation, think through based upon your goals, your assets, your income, really what solution makes sense for you and what your needs are. And at the end of the day, that's really what we're here for, is to help educate and encourage you all to make sure that you have a good financial plan in place. So I would encourage you all, reach out to your advisor, shoot them an email, give them a call. They're more than happy to walk through that conversation with y'all. So, John, before we hop off here, what's one last thought here for the week ahead?
I'll tell you what, we're heading into the summertime. It is a wonderful time of year. Make sure that you're always enjoying time with yourself and your family and doing fun things like heading out to Zion National and kind of going out to the park there and checking things out, or wherever your favorite place is to go, and create memories and do it with people that you love, and have a great time throughout the rest of summer.
Yeah, absolutely love that. Guys, we appreciate your time and look forward to speaking with each and every one of you. Have a good week.